All right, welcome to the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show. Larry Krueger with you. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. 2 locations there in Emeryville and Corte Madera, open 7 days a week in Marin County from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Well, we're talking with Cyrus Saatsaz from Locked On Warriors after game 1 of the Warriors Kings first round series goes to Sacramento in Golden 126, 123. They lit the beams Saturday night, as they like to say, in Sacramento. And Cy, why don't we just get right into it?
Yeah.
Why did the Warriors, in your estimation, wind up losing game 1?
Well, Steve Kerr, when he started his post-game press conference, him and I were like simpatico in terms of the reasons why, because I was really lucky to have Hall of Famer Rick Barry join me for the post-game show. And when Rick commends you for your rants, you know, you're doing something right. And both of us, both Kerr and I agree. It started with the offensive rebounding. The Kings just crushed the Warriors in that category. I felt like every time the Warriors got a defensive stop and the Kings offense, I mean, we all saw with our own eyes in game 1, dude, they have a frenetic pace. They're fast. The tempo is like unmatched. It's very Warriors like in a lot of ways. And so when you're getting defensive stops against an offense like that, I mean, you take that as a moral victory until the other team gets an offensive rebound and gets second opportunities, third opportunities. I mean, those are like killing you morally. And that happened to the Warriors too much, man. They lost that battle 17-9. And I thought that was a key part. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but it started there, in my humble opinion. And we can get into all the other reasons too if you want.
Yeah, I mean, no question. Offensive glass. Sacramento was +9 on the glass overall, but it was even on the defensive glass. But Sacramento was +8, as you said, on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
The other area was points in the paint. Sacramento was +16 points in the paint, 60-44. I thought that jumped out. And let's be honest. I mean, if Sacramento can get 30+ points out of Malik Monk, and they got 55 from their bench, 32 of those from Malik Monk. So
Incredible.
they're gonna be tough to beat in that
Incredible.
scenario.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And that's something Draymond Green pointed out. He recorded his podcast last night following the game. It came out today, but he kind of I don't know if he let that slip or if that was something to slip, but yeah. So he recorded his podcast in his hotel room, and that was one of the first things he alluded to. I mean, he commented on De'Aaron Fox and talked about how they knew how good he is. I mean, but they also need to figure out how to stop him from playing downhill like he was. I mean, he just had all the momentum. He was completely setting the pace of the game, setting the tempo of the game, and but the part that Draymond said was inexcusable was Malik Monk getting 32 points. That's a lot of points for a bench player, and Malik Monk was just eating them up. It wasn't just like outside shooting that led Monk to scoring that much. He was attacking the paint, and it seemed like he was just going in there without any impasse. And that's why he got to the line so many times. I mean, he had 14 free throw attempts. That's absurd. And especially when you consider that Stephen Curry had 2 free throw attempts, Klay Thompson had 0 free throw attempts. So yeah, man, Malik Monk thing is bad. I mean, I feel like that leads to a bigger conversation that we can have right now if you want, which is that Steve Kerr, I thought, just got out coached. I feel like Mike Brown, and it's not like Mike Brown did anything brilliant. Mike Brown just did what seemed or felt like common sense. Like he had Alex Len out there, a player who wasn't always in his rotation, but because of the size advantage, he brought him out there, and Len ended up grabbing in like 13 rebound or 13 minutes of play. He grabbed 7 rebounds. So it was just moves like that. I mean, it was just, like he knows Trey Lyles plays great against the Warriors. So Trey Lyles got 18 minutes. And then Kerr, you didn't really see adjustments from him. You saw Andrew Wiggins, a player we haven't seen in 3 months, taking the potential game-winning shot, playing these really crucial minutes. I mean, he looked good, but he was also 1 for 8 from 3. And I don't know if he's the guy you want finishing your game in the playoffs when you haven't seen him in 3 months, and he wasn't even in condition enough to play any of your final regular season games. But, in game 1 of the playoffs, here's Andrew Wiggins playing 28 minutes. Again, he did good, but it wasn't great. And to see him at the end of the game was just one example of, I think, where Kerr kind of got out coached in this. And Mike Brown did all the things that seemed to make sense. Kerr did not adjust, and now we're going to see if there's going to be out of game adjustments between now and game 2. We'll find out.
Well, there was two things that stood out to me. One, Fox, when Wiggins and Peyton were both sitting in that third quarter, had 10 points in a 5-minute stretch. That stood out to me.
Yeah.
The other thing that we discussed a little bit in the post game was that, Kerr rested Curry late third quarter. When he took him out of the game, the Warriors were up 4. When they brought him back into the game, they were already down 5. I mean, that's a 9-point swing, and I was hoping that the Warriors were going to rest liberally during the regular season so that when it got to the playoffs, they could extend. And I get it. It's like, hey, I don't want to play Steph 40 minutes in a long playoff run. You may not have a long playoff run if you don't. You know what I mean? You may have a very short playoff run if you don't put him out there. To me, I'd like to see more of Steph. I mean, to me, that's where this game was lost. End of third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter. And by the time Steph came in, it was going to be a very difficult task to reverse that crowd and win on the road. The other thing I'll say, and I'm not a person that blames officials, but I watched that game again today. The Warriors did not get any of the 50-50 calls inside the 5-minute mark. Everything, Steph, late foul on Fox at the right, two seconds before the end of the shot clock. Wiggins, foul on, was it Monk or Fox in the corner, where they said they forced him out of bounds. I mean, the Warriors did not get the Steph Curry on that amazing corner 3 got totally hacked. Didn't get the and one call. Monk did get calls. He got a phantom call on Looney. There was a phantom call on Wiggins. I thought the officials, for the most part, were pretty good. Ed Malloy and those guys, I think, did a good job. But, man, the Warriors got 0 of the 50-50 calls in the last 5 minutes of the game.
No, you're absolutely right, man. And this officiating crew has been known for having a quick whistle. They've been known for giving the home team a slight advantage. I saw some clip today of a reporter kind of highlighting that this specific officiating crew is known for those things. And I hosted a Locked On episode today. It was like an impromptu, like live. In fact, I was going to have you join me, but it just didn't work out for timing. But I had to do it because the more I thought about this game, I watched it again, just like you. And the more I thought about it, the more certain things just stuck out that I thought the Warriors could correct for game 2. I mean, the Kings are a tough team. There's a reason why I predicted the Warriors to win this series in 6. The Kings are good. We're asking the Warriors to win 2 road games in this series, I feel like is asking a lot. They could do it, but it's just asking a lot. But so when I went back, the third quarter also stuck out to me. But what stuck out to me particularly is that the Warriors went into the half with I think 61-55 lead. It was like a 6-point.
Yep, 61-55. Yep.
Yeah, and then so they blew that up. That actually expanded it to 10. And then De'Aaron Fox started having that run, right? He started scoring. And then I feel like Kerr brought Gary Payton II in too late. Like when you started seeing De'Aaron Fox really get on a roll, and for like 2-3 minutes, Kerr just kind of stood there just watching it. When I feel like anyone who's really paying attention, like I was even tweeting this in Lifetime saying, bring GP2 in. That is your number 1 defender. He is the answer for these De'Aaron Fox runs. So, but Kerr waited like 2-3 minutes, and the Kings closed the lead to 4. But when he brought Gary Payton II in, you suddenly had a lineup that we haven't seen much this year. And there were 2 players in particular that I loved, which was Gary Payton II and Dante DiVincenzo. They were out there together. And those 2 playing together defensively are awesome. And the Warriors actually brought the lead back up. It was largely because of Steph. I mean, Steph was just playing lights out. His plus minus in this game was, I think it led the Warriors. If I'm looking at this right now, he finished with a plus 11. Yeah, which by far led the Warriors. So when he was in there, like they were lighting it up. Steph was dominating. But the Warriors did get the lead back up before Gary Payton II left the game. Or I'm sorry, before Stephen Curry was substituted. When Stephen Curry got pulled out, it was absolutely the sequence of the whole game, in my opinion, because the Warriors were up 8. And Steve Kerr decides, instead of leaving Steph in there, there's 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And they could have blown this thing open at that point. But he pulls Curry out, And then simultaneously, Wiggins missed both those free throws. And which again goes to him just being rusty and him missing a lot of time. And his legs weren't underneath him, but he missed those two crucial free throws. And it all went downhill against the Warriors from there. It just started a whole avalanche of Kings points, and they just kept running it one after the other. It was right then when Stephen Curry got pulled out. It was at the 2:18 mark. I just looked it up right now. Yeah, Klay Thompson comes in for Steph. Klay did not have a great game either. He needs to
No.
be that needs to be pointed out. He finished a -14 in the plus minus category. Shot just 5 of 14 from beyond the arc. And the timing of his missed threes were really brutal too. I feel like every time he shot a three, it could have stemmed one of the Kings' runs. It could have blown it open for the Warriors. He missed a lot of crucial threes that he did acknowledge after the game. He acknowledged self-awareness in those missed threes, and he promised that wasn't going to happen again. But you're right, man. Like, I don't know why Stephen Curry was pulled in that moment. Steph only played 37 minutes tonight for the postseason in a crucial game like this, especially in a moment like that. Yeah, give him a couple extra minutes, or at a minimum, play Gary Payton II more than 20 minutes. De'Aaron Fox played 40, and if your best weapon for De'Aaron Fox is Gary Payton II, don't only play him half the time that De'Aaron Fox is playing. You got to give him some more run. I mean, maybe not 40 because Gary Payton II isn't accustomed to playing those kind of minutes, but get him out there a little more than 20. That part of it was disappointing to me, and we can get into the rest of it. But yeah, that third quarter was where it all turned around for the Warriors, and they just can't let that happen again.
Well, and how is Golden State going to spurt? They're going to spurt with what they call the Curry flurry, and he was about ready to have a little flurry, but he came off the floor. So I didn't love that.
Yeah.
The other thing I really didn't love is that, come on, man, you're Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, I realize you shot 40% from three before you went out. You've been gone for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
When you've been gone for 7 weeks, what advantage and what disadvantage do you have? The disadvantage, logically, is that your shot probably is not in rhythm because you haven't played a whole lot.
Yep,
the advantage
absolutely.
is that your legs are fresh and you should be able to beat anybody at will, off the dribble, constantly. And instead, for him to take 8 threes, I mean, it's just like, and it wasn't falling, and you can beat people off the dribble at will. I thought 28 minutes was a lot, but I thought he looked sharp, but the shot wasn't there. And for him to take 8 of them instead of attack the hole more, I think that was a mistake on his part. And to me, I mean, he had a real great look with 10 seconds on the clock at that final three. Yeah, Steph had the final three, but Wiggins had the final good look at a three, and we didn't get a chance to see it. So that's what kind of stood out to me. One other thing, we've got this one. Jordan Poole, according to Anthony Slater, is questionable for Game 2 tomorrow night in Sacramento. He rolled his left ankle on a drive last night. It was icing it post-game. That, to me, is very interesting as well.
Yeah.
What do you think of that little revelation?
I'm not overly concerned about it for 2 reasons. One, Jordan Poole is one of the toughest players the Warriors have. He's rarely, if ever, missed game time because of injury. I'd actually be very curious to look that stat up because I have like no recollection of him ever missing a game because of injury. I mean, maybe I'm brain farting right now, but so I remember the play in question when that happened. He was down for a little bit and he looked like he was in legitimate pain. He was grimacing, but he also came back in the game. And look, I know with ankle injuries, though, that could be worse. Like the next day, it could swell up. But A, I'm not overly concerned about it. And B, I feel like that's not the position that the Warriors are going to need the most against the Kings. And what I mean by that is if Jordan Poole is hurt to the point where he's not going to play, you have a lot of other pieces on your roster who can make up those minutes. Like I just talked about Gary Payton II. You could see his minutes go up, right? Dante DiVincenzo played less than 20 minutes. You could see his minutes go up even like 30. So those 2 players, like right there, Moses Moody, a player that we did not see. I wish we did see for numerous reasons, besides the fact that offensively, he's really shown the last week of the season, those final 3 games, he was efficient. He was putting points up in big chunks. He was putting down like monster dunks, being athletic against a team like Sacramento. I feel like you can use a player like Moses Moody, but also because the Warriors have been just so damn diminutive. I mean, they're just tiny. They're such a freaking small team that if you're going to lose one of your players, excuse me, I feel like you'd survive losing the 6'4" Jordan Poole a lot more than someone who plays the forward or center position, which is where this Warriors team is like sorely lacking. So I really hope that if Poole, regardless of Poole status, I really hope we see Jonathan Kuminga play more than 9 minutes, 45 seconds. I thought that was absurd. Considering what the Warriors were last year with their championship roster to what they are now, I mean, they basically lost Otto Porter Jr. and they lost Nemanja Bjelica, and the replacement so far is just Dante DiVincenzo. That's not a good enough replacement for those two. So Jonathan Kuminga would be the other one who can step in, especially since Kuminga and Otto Porter Jr. are almost the same size in terms of physique. They're both 6'8". They're both tough players who can play inside, but also have a nice three-point stroke. And Kuminga's shown this year, man. Like I've been saying this stat repeatedly since January 1st. When Kuminga plays 25 plus minutes, the Warriors win over 70% of their games. And I feel like this is not the time for Kerr to suddenly be playing like experimental games with individuals' minutes. Like, how have you not figured this out by now? It's kind of crazy. So I want Kuminga to play more. I plead and beg for that because regardless of Poole status, the Warriors were small out there. Their starting lineup is tiny. Their bench is even smaller because we didn't see JaMychal Green at all. He was DNP'd. I mean, look, I understand that JaMychal Green had a rough year, but he was also one of your prime free agent acquisitions during the offseason. And if the opposition is throwing Alex Len out there and JaMychal Green can't handle that assignment, then you got problems. But I don't think that's the case. I think JaMychal Green can handle Alex Len. And so that's one of the, I know we're going to lead into the adjustments part, but point is Jordan Poole, if he misses the game, I think the Warriors can survive without him, but I don't think he's going to miss the game just because he's such a tough guy who sucks it up and can deal with pain. He has great pain tolerance. So yeah,